we're back again with Ella Nosworthy, who you sort of wear many hats at this festival.
Yes.
Music management, recruitment. Just tell us a little bit, because obviously your father is the
man himself.
The man himself who we've just spoken to. I mean, was it inevitable that you would get involved in working for the festival?
Oh, I think so. I think everybody we've ever known has been pulled and involved somehow. I've been doing Nozstock longer than I haven't been doing Nozstock. The first one was when I was 13 years old. So I've literally grown up with it and grown into my role, and I don't really remember when we didn't have Nozstock every summer.
Is that, obviously, as you say, because it's a sort of family thing, you kind of fall into it. I mean, was that something you were into before then, the sort of music and events and things like that?
Obviously I enjoyed music and going to festivals, and as a kid my parents always took us to Glastonbury, so to me it wasn't unusual to be involved in a festival necessarily, but I never really had it in my head that I would grow up and be an events organiser, or that we would be running a festival, because it's not something we ever set out to do. Most people have heard the story that we did have a barbecue, and a few years later we realised we were holding a mini festival by accident. It did just get completely out of control, but obviously we love it because we didn't stop. So 17 years later, here I am. Yeah.
So going to the music management side of things, I mean, is that obviously like sourcing new bands and stuff? Is that something that takes up the majority of your time throughout the year?
It takes up some time, but to be honest, the most busy thing is sorting out the logistics. I think people just think you ring up and book a band and that's it, but of course every band comes with contracts and riders and sorting out transport, and there's a lot involved in just getting one act to the festival and home again. So a lot of my time is spent dealing with agents and working out how the act are going to get here, of course how much you're going to pay them, what they need to do the show, including all of their tech. So there's an awful lot to think about each time that you book a band. But in terms of who we book each year, we've got such a great crew who are all festival goers, and everyone sends in suggestions, and we take suggestions from the public, and of course we see who's worked really well here. So I've usually got in my head who I want to go for next year anyway. So it's not like I spend a lot of time really thinking like, oh gosh, who's going to work, because obviously you're getting sent suggestions from agents and from people anyway. So I think most of my time is spent actually just doing the deal and sorting out the boring stuff.
So probably go back to the sort of, I don't know how many, was it 11 years or so of Nozstock?
17. This is our 17th year.
17th year of Nozstock. Who's the one, if you could name like one act that's been here that you enjoyed more than any other? Is there one that you could?
There's a couple actually. If you talk about my specific music taste, the one band who I made sure my radio was off and I watched the whole set was actually Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer last year, who I've loved for years. So it's probably the first person we've had here who I was a real fan of. So that was exciting. But in terms of having people here where it was just like, this is amazing, I think the one that stands out most is when Andy C first came, because we were still so small, and to have achieved Andy C was just...
How long ago was that?
I think it was 5 years ago now. Yeah. It just felt really surreal and really exciting to have had him there. And same when Russell Howard came as well in 2010. Again, we were still really small. And just the fact that we got him here was just so exciting. I don't think we'll ever forget that. And
you obviously asked your dad this question as well, but I mean, is there someone that you'd really want to book that you haven't yet had here at Nozstock?
Definitely. There's a few bands we'd love to get in. Gentleman's Dub Club I think would be really good. And there's obviously the dream acts if budget was no issue.
Who would that be if money was?
Money was no issue. Maybe I think the Prodigy would be a brilliant act to have here. And then there's other acts like Bill Bailey would be brilliant at Nozstock. I know Dad's always quite liked the idea of getting C6 Steve here, so there's plenty of acts on the list that we've got a wish list, but whether it'll ever come true, who knows.
Now this week's been particularly stressful for you. Can you tell us a little bit about the events of earlier this week?
It was, yeah. We had an email from Wu-Tang cancelling the rest of their European tour. So Nozstock was in the same boat as a Tramlines festival as well. It was a shock. And it was really stressful thinking, oh God, who are we going to get in at such short notice? Obviously De La Soul have stepped up and have agreed to headline, so thanks to them. But actually actually it's worked out really well. I think people are really excited to see De La Soul. It still suits Nozstock. I actually think it's going to be really, really good. I think in some ways it might have worked out for the best.
Excellent, yeah. And just finally, obviously, just with the sci-fi theme here, what's your favourite sci-fi film?
What's my favourite sci-fi film? Do you know, I do like Star Wars, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Star Wars.
Fair enough. Okay, well, best of luck with the rest of the festival. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, long may it continue.
Thank you.
Cheers.